Hello, I'm Ella. I'm 28 years old, and a year ago I got married to the love of my life. But not only did my marriage lead to the end of one relationship, but also of another marriage. This all sounds funny, so let me just tell you my story. I lost my dad when I was only 7 years old. For the next 5 or so years, it had only been my mom and I. My mom is a strong, resilient woman. She worked any job she could just so she could feed me. I remember that there were nights that she wouldn't eat just so I went to bed with a full stomach. Anyway, about 3 years after my father passed away, my mom found another man and fell in love with him. Now, she kept him away from me for a good 2 years because she wanted to make sure that he was the one for her. I was young and she didn't want me to feel like I was replacing my dad that fast. Anyways, after my mom introduced her then boyfriend Philip, he proposed and the two of them got married. Initially, I was pretty indifferent to Philip. I made sure to stay out of his way and I did my best to never ask him for anything. Philip was pretty well off because he worked in a pretty popular company. While my mom still did work, she didn't have to work as hard as she did before. That meant I got to spend more time with her, and that was the only good thing I liked about having Philip around. However, Philip absolutely did not like me. Whenever my mom wasn't around, he'd purposely do things to upset me, like eat the food my mom cooked for me to eat after school and not feed me until my mom came back, or he would promise my mom that he'd pick me up after school and wouldn't show up until just before mom came back home. Or he would even purposefully hide my things just to watch me freak out. He did all this because he thought it was funny. Whenever I told my mom about Philip's antics, she would gently tell me that I needed to deal with it because he was the one who was helping us survive. I hated that, but I knew what life was without his financial aid, so I just sucked it up and went on with my life. When it finally came time to go to college, I ran out of the house as if it was on fire. I fortunately got a full ride at a college in my city and I took it. It was at college that I met my husband, Noah. Noah came from a big, affluent family, and while he never flaunted it, you could tell just by the way that he carried himself. He was my senior and he was assigned to mentor me at some program that we had taken. We gradually got closer and we began to hang out outside of the college hours. Before I knew it, we were dating and completely in love. Noah is quite literally my other half. After he graduated, Noah moved into an apartment near my college and asked me to move in with him. We've been living together ever since. We dated for another 2 years after I graduated before Noah proposed to me, and I happily said yes. Of course, we wanted to share the news with everyone, but we decided to share it first with our parents. If there is one thing that you should know, it's that Noah absolutely despised Philip and was mildly annoyed by my mother, so he did not look forward to telling them the news of our engagement. Even so, we invited Mom and Philip over for dinner, and at the end of it, I decided to tell them. So Noah and I have some big news to share. I think I know where this is going, and I'm so excited. Don't leave us in suspense. Tell us. We just got engaged. Ah, I'm so happy for both of you. Congratulations. Yeah, I really can't wait to spend the rest of my life with her. Oh, I wish nothing but the best for both of you. Thanks, Mom. Yeah, and Noah's going to need all the luck that he can get if he's getting married to this one. What do you mean? Well, I mean, she's just an absolute handful. No, she isn't. Oh, you haven't lived with her long enough to see it. You're still a young couple, but give it a few years and you'll be begging her to leave you. Lord knows that's what I was doing when it came time for her to go to college. I can't help that you're a crappy father. Do not impose your feelings on me. Thanks. Whoa, calm down. I'm just trying to prepare you for your bleak future. All I'm saying is that you still have time to change your mind and run for the hills. Okay, that is enough. I have put up with a lot from you, but this is where I draw the line. Oh, come on, Ella. It was just a joke. No, it was not, and don't you dare try to play it off as one. You've never once been supportive of anything I've done. You've always put me down to the point of obliterating my self-esteem. And now you try to tell my fiancé to run away because I am a handful? Calm down. I will not calm down. I could have said the same things you told Noah to my mom about you. But not once have I interfered in your relationship. You've crossed a line, and I do not want to see or hear from you unless it's to apologize. My gosh, it was just a joke. Did you see anyone else but yourself laugh? That was not a joke at all. Get out of my house. Fine. Come on, Andrea. Oh no, Mom can stay. You need to leave. I was genuinely flabbergasted at the audacity that Philip had to insult me in my own house. It was one thing to do it when I was a kid living under his roof, but to tell my husband to run away while he still had the chance to was insane. I was seeing red, and it took me until I saw Philip walk out of the house to calm down. Of course, Philip didn't leave that easily. He kept trying to get my mother to leave with him, but she refused to. She told him that she would meet him at home. Eventually, Noah got him to get out of his seat and head out. Philip did not stop yelling that I was taking a joke too seriously, but I didn't really care. After he left, my mom kept apologizing for Philip's behavior, and while I asked her not to apologize, Noah did tell her that it wasn't fair that she watched Philip bully me for years and never spoke up. She could have spoken up now too, considering she was his wife, but she still let me take hit after hit. My mom apologized and reasoned that it had been so long that she suppressed her instincts to protect me because she put our survival over anything else. Noah understood where she was coming from, but did ask that she be a little more vocal now because she's not alone anymore, and that we would help her out in a heartbeat. My mom was very grateful for the support, and the evening carried on with us being happy and enjoying each other's time. It wasn't until a week later that Philip called me to apologize. Hey, Ella, do you have a minute? Unless this is a call to apologize, I don't have any time for you. It is. Look, I've been talking to your mother and I realized I was really mean. Yeah, well, you've been that way for a long time now. I get that. I mean, I guess I just did not like the fact that your mother came with a kid. Sure, but you've known me for like 15 years now. I don't think I was ever hard to deal with. You just bullied a kid for no reason. I get it. I'm sorry. Please just let me make up for it. And how do you plan on making up for it? I don't know. I'll do anything you want. I should have worked out my issues in a different way, but I took it out on you and that was not fair. You're right. Fine, I'll give you one last chance, but if you mess it up, you'll have hell to pay. Thanks a lot, Ella. But before we end this call, I do have something to ask you, and it's related to your wedding. Oh, what is it? I was thinking that if we were to start afresh, we could do it at your wedding. What exactly are you saying? What I'm saying is, would you be open to me walking you down the aisle? You want to walk me down the aisle? Yeah, I mean, like you said, I've known you for 15 years now, and I don't think it's right for anyone else to do it. Besides, I know I dropped the ball during these 15 years, but I was thinking I could walk you down the aisle to symbolize the start of our new relationship. I don't know if that's a good idea. I mean, you've never been there for me, and I don't want to disappoint myself on my big day. I know, but I promise that I'll be there, and I'll be holding your hand all the way down. I'll have to check with Noah as well, but let me get back to you. Why do you have to ask him? He doesn't get a say in who gives you away. Just please give me a chance. I swear I want to be better and to have a better relationship with you. Fine. But if you do anything, and I mean anything, to screw my wedding up, I will make sure you suffer. This is your absolute last chance. Got it? Got it. You won't regret giving me another chance. I wanted to believe Philip so badly. He had never proved to be a good person before, but I was a big believer in people changing for the better. Sometimes it just takes a small incident to make someone change their entire life around. Maybe My standing up for myself made Philip see things differently, and while that did not seem likely, I wanted to believe in it really bad. That evening, after Noah came back home from work, I told him about my phone call with Philip. So, Philip called me today. Did he call to apologize? Yeah, and he also asked for something. Oh no, what did he ask for? Well, he wanted to walk me down the aisle. What? Yeah, I mean, he sounded really apologetic and he reasoned that this would be a fresh start for us. He wanted to walk me down the aisle as a symbol of us starting over. And you agreed to it? Yes, I didn't really think about who would walk me down the aisle, and I was genuinely surprised that he offered. Ella, I love you, but I don't think that's a smart decision. I know. That's why I told him that if he messed up this time, I would never give him a chance again, and that he'd have hell to pay for. Okay, good. I like that. Are you upset with the decision I made? No, how could I be? It's your decision to make, and I don't have a say in it. But what I will tell you is that you know I have a lot of connections. If he does anything to hurt you or ruin your day, I will use my connections to make sure that he loses his job. You know what? I like that. You cannot tell him what's at stake, though. He needs to show us that he actually meant every word without knowing that there is a possibility of him getting ruined. Of course. I mean, he probably took my warning as a joke, but I want to believe that he wants to actually change. I hope for your sake that he's telling the truth. It felt really good to have Noah support me to such extremes. I knew that Noah would do anything for me, and seeing him stand his ground for me made me feel even better after my decision to give Philip another chance. When I told my mom about what happened, she was genuinely so happy that she cried. She promised me that if Philip messed things up, she would support whatever I did without questioning it, or trying to advocate for Philip. That made me feel even better. After years of having my mother sideline me, it felt great to finally be her priority again. The next few months were spent planning the wedding of our dreams. Noah and I invited as many people as we could because we wanted our big day to be a huge celebration of our love. As the days to our wedding grew closer, I kept in touch with Philip to tell him about how things would go. Philip seemed to be very invested in the wedding and even made suggestions for how things could go in another manner. I was actually shocked to see him participate so much because, if I'm being completely honest, I just expected him to show up on the day of the wedding and walk me down the aisle, and that would be it. On the day of our rehearsal dinner, Philip didn't show up. He said that he was wrapped up at work, but that he would see me the next day at the wedding venue. I should have known something was up, but I ignored all my gut feelings and decided to just trust him. Noah was on alert too, but I told him to just let things go. Finally, the next day, my mom came over and we spent the morning getting ready and reminiscing about my childhood days. We shed a good amount of tears, and when it was nearing time for me to walk down the aisle, I realized that Philip was nowhere to be found. I had my bridesmaids search for him everywhere, but they couldn't find him. Finally, I called my mother, who was seated in the hall, and asked her to meet me in my room. Sweetie, you look gorgeous. Thanks, Mom, but I'm kind of freaking out. I know, it's a big day, but this is Noah. You've already been with him for so long, and just because you'll be married, it won't change a thing. No, it's not that. Have you seen Philip around? Philip? Has he not come yet? No, I've been looking around everywhere for him. He's not in the hall either. Well, I've been here with you all morning, and I told him to be here on time. I've been calling him, but he hasn't been picking up. Could you call him and pass the phone to me? Yeah, of course. Hold on. Oh, here. He picked up. Hello? Philip, where are you? At home. Why? Did you forget that today's my wedding and that you're walking me down the aisle? Oh, no, I didn't forget. How's it going there right now? What do you mean? You promised to walk me down the aisle. Maybe next time you'll think twice before humiliating me. This is your lesson." "You cannot be serious." "Man, I wish I was there so I could see your panicked face. Ha! You have to admit this is pretty funny. I mean, I expected it to be. Do you know how funny it was to see you actually believe me when I apologized? I've been laughing about it for days." "You're going to regret this." "What did he say?" "That he was just joking when he made me that promise. Apparently, he found it really funny because he couldn't stop laughing at me." "What? What do I do now?" "Don't you worry about a thing, okay? Who cares that he's not here? I am. And as your mother, I'll walk you down the aisle. I will deal with Philip later. I'm so sorry that I let him treat you that way for so long." "Thank you so much, Mom. I'd actually love to have you walk me. But also, you have nothing to apologize for. You were a single mom who was struggling to keep us afloat. Philip had the resources to help us. So of course you stayed. We'll figure everything out after the wedding. Let's just enjoy today, yeah?" I couldn't believe it. I felt so humiliated and stupid for trusting him. I should have known that a man as selfish as him was not capable of changing so quickly, but I still gave him the benefit of the doubt. My mother was even angrier than me, but we decided to put aside our negative feelings for the day and just enjoy the wedding instead. When my mother and I walked down the aisle, Noah raised an eyebrow and instantly knew what Philip had done. Thankfully, he too suppressed his anger, and the day went on. Noah and I had a blast. I almost forgot about what Philip had done because I got married to the love of my life and I celebrated it with all the people I loved. When it came time to go back home, my mother asked if she could stay with us until she figured out what she wanted to do with her relationship with Philip. We obviously agreed, and I was just glad that she was sticking to her word and taking my side. Now, I don't know what strings Noah pulled, but he managed to get in contact with Philip's boss. He went to lunch with him and after that came home and told both me and my mom that Philip would get fired during the upcoming week. I didn't ask Noah to do anything of that sort, but before I could say anything, he reminded me of the promise he had made me when I told him that I had agreed to let Philip walk me down the aisle. Well, Philip got fired 2 days after Noah had lunch with his boss. How did I know? Philip would not stop blowing up my phone. I ignored his calls for as long as I could just to torture him. Eventually, I caved in and answered. "Ella, please don't hang up on me right now." "What do you want?" Your husband ruined my life." "Okay, and? Do you not feel any sympathy for me?" "Why would I? You were the one that abandoned me on the day of my wedding." "That was just a harmless prank. Noah did not have to call my boss and get me fired. Who is he anyway for him to have so much influence?" "Philip, I warned you that it was your last chance, and if you messed it up, you'd suffer." "I didn't think it would go this far. You have to help me." "Why would I help you? You showed me every single time that I gave you a chance how much you care for me and how you do anything to see me suffer. The tables have turned, and now it's my time to enjoy watching you suffer. How can you be so mean to your father?" "You are not my father. You're only legally my stepdad, but to me, you're just my mom's husband, who has no connections to me whatsoever." "How dare you say that? I raised you." "Did you raise me? Or did you only bully me? You manipulated and gaslighted me for years. You always raised my hopes only to watch me cry when it all crashed and burned. You are a disgusting human, and losing your job is the least that you could go through. You have no right to speak to me that way, young lady. And you had no right to ruin my life, yet here we are. You go tell that pompous husband of yours to give me back my job or else. Or else what? You go crying to Mom? Please, she's already so close to leaving you. Let's see what she'll do when she finds out that you've lost your job." "What are you talking about? Andrea won't leave me." "Oh, believe me, she was even angrier than me when you bailed. Why do you think she's been staying with me and hasn't called you in a week?" "Don't scare me like this. I'll have nothing. You're ruining my life." "Oh no, you ruined your own life. Now face the consequences of your own actions. Bye, Philip. Good luck with everything. I was more than glad to see Philip struggling like that. He deserved every bit of it and more. Hearing the desperation in his voice really made me feel like everything I went through with him was worth it. A few days after Philip and I's phone call, Mom filed for divorce. She was finally at a place where she could support herself and didn't need to rely on anyone. I was so proud to see her stand on her own feet. Besides, she had Noah and I to help her out if she ever needed it. Philip was not happy about the divorce. He cried and begged my mom not to leave him. He even came over to my place and begged me to convince my mom to change her mind. Unlike him, I was not going to interfere in someone else's relationship. Mom was leaving him because she finally could afford to leave him. Philip kept calling Noah and I to cuss us out for ruining his life. He really had some guts to slander Noah when Noah had so many other ways to ensure that Philip would not get a job in this city. Fortunately for Philip, Noah decided not to do anything. We actually did feel some amount of pity for him, so we just ignored him. When Philip saw that he wasn't getting any attention from us, he eventually just stopped contacting us. My mom stayed with us until her divorce was finalized. She was not in the best of places mentally, so Noah and I did our best to be there with her. Eventually, we began to see her return back to her old self. It was remarkable to see my mom go back to being the way that she always was. I don't really know what's happening with Philip, except that it's been almost a year since everything went down with him, and he's still searching for a job. I think it'll be a long while before he finds one, but that is what he deserves. Noah and I are looking forward to a better life now that we've weeded out all the negative influences in our lives. Here's to positive and happier memories and experiences from now on.